Raiden, turn the game console off right now.
What did you say?
The mission is a failure. Cut the power right now.
This is Metal Gear Solid 2, the game that changed storytelling forever. Considered the first postmodern video game, Metal Gear helped influence a new generation of storytelling. But how did Metal Gear break the mold of what a video game story should be? By having such complex narrative themes, games before never thought it possible. This started on launch with the bait and switch of the main protagonist. Leading up to the release of Metal Gear Solid 2 and within the first few hours of the game, all the focus was on Solid Snake, the iconic hero of the franchise. As one may expect, it becomes shocking to then be switched to a new rookie character. But this was not by mistake. Kojima, the director of the game, purposefully chose to use this tactic to challenge the player's assumptions of the story. Why is this important? Well, I'll go more in depth later about this, but the main themes of the game directly correlate to the idea of challenging what is it we think we know. And there's no better way to destroy player expectations than marketing one of the most popular video game characters of all time and then switching to a brand new character. At the time, gaming was more of an interactive experience. Sure, there were some bait and switch tactics used before, but none of which that were deeply integrated into the game's story. Metal Gear's ability to keep players on their toes showed that games could be used to challenge expectations and even surprise players. And with that web of deception, Metal Gear Solid 2 becomes a mind-bending experience. Even characters within the game have hidden agendas. Solid Snake hides his identity from posing as Solid Snake. It's no longer just about the story in front of you, but about being able to decipher the truth from the clutter. With this, Metal Gear was able to bring more mature themes into popularity. We see this deeper theme of deception more commonly used in today's gaming. Look at a game like The Last of Us 2. The game trailers focused heavily on Joel and Ellie, but the story switches from that quickly. Naughty Dog aimed to subvert player expectations by creating shock early in the game. Sound familiar? But it's not only used in trailers and character swaps, we also see these surprises within different tools to deliberately tie into the main themes of the game. A notable choice is breaking the fourth wall. These are a part of the game that acknowledges the player directly.
Honestly though, you have played the game for a long time. Don't you have anything else to do with your time?
Games are inherently interactive. It's unsettling to be immersed in a game to then the game acknowledging the player's role within the game. And in Metal Gear, this is used to deepen the storytelling by making an impact on narrative moments. It's way more engaging as a player when the in-game characters are talking directly to you rather than to each other. We see this now used in other ways in popular titles across media like Deadpool. They incorporate the fourth wall breaks to build humor and deeper audience connection. And while talking to a camera and telling a joke is successful, what makes Metal Gear fourth wall breaks so unique is it directly correlates into the metafiction aspect of the story. The game is one giant metaphor of questioning reality and what happens when there is media manipulation. Look at the main character, Raiden. He's a rookie who is fed a bunch of information from sources he doesn't know if he can trust. Is he really a rookie soldier? Or are these just implanted memories into a virtual mercenary used to push their narrative? Because of the VR training he does before the Big Shell mission, it's hard to know for sure if Raiden is a soldier or if the memories were all implanted to help push the agenda. I spoke earlier about how Kojima uses the bait and switch to tie directly into the themes of the game. This is exactly what I was referring to. Metal Gear Solid 2 doesn't give the player clear-cut yes or no answers when it comes to these questions on reality. Instead, players are challenged to see the information given to them and make their own perception of what is happening. This creates a sense of distrust, causing the player to question everything they see, even if it seems to be explained right in front of them. An example of this is Raiden doubting his own existence. Raiden's existential crisis is a core part of the game's exploration into identity. This then causes players to explore the idea of subjective versus objective truth. By having so much conflicting truths, we're left to create our own subjective truth of the story. Rather than objective truths we are used to seeing inside of video games, watching Raiden struggle with his own identity within the game, starting from calling himself Snake before getting switched to Raiden. to then coming full circle at the end of the game where Raiden discards his dog tags, which, as we know, are used to give a person identity. If the protagonist rejects any singular truth given to him, how are we as players supposed to accept the same truths? We see this with the character Fortune. Early on, it seems as if she has powers. So our subjective truth at the beginning of the game would be that she has powers. But towards the end of the game, we learn that this is in fact technology that can deflect the projectiles. So that would change the player's perspective, right? Well, yes and no. Later in the game, she deflects a projectile without the shield, leaving players left to wonder whether she does actually possess powers. Unanswered questions like this leave the player to wonder how these experiences shape our opinions. That's the beauty of what Kojima was able to create. There is no correct answer, and the interpretation is left up to the players to explore. We've seen this type of storytelling used more often in recent titles such as Dark Souls, where most of the lore is cryptic and the player is left to come up with their own theories of what is right and what is wrong. These type of games leave players to create questions and answer them for themselves, rather than the game leaving nothing to the imagination. But these thought-provoking questions were way before their time. In the game, the AI called the Patriots create a fake reality through digital information and media. They can control people and create conflict where they want to. The digital space is controlled with propaganda, misinformation, and false data, which mirrors the way social media and the internet can be used to change people's opinions today. Metal Gear helps shine a light on how tough it can be to find a source of reliable information in a world that is filled with so much false information. And with the world being so saturated with controlled information, it becomes hard for a person to create their own opinions. You become reliant on the information provided by the monopoly. Concentrated power by an organization is the tactic companies use to stifle competition and keep the consumers in the dark about the options they have. Because in the information age, you are only influenced by the environment in which you choose to get your information. Metal Gear Solid 2 does the opposite. It allows the players to explore the dangers of media and choose their own opinion. It's so on point, I don't even think Kojima himself expected to be this accurate. The game created complexity on subjects we didn't even know existed at the time, and yet, in the world we live in today, this is all became true. Think about the digital footprint the Patriots can track by logging the online activity of every person. Now think about when you log into Google or any other website and how they instantly seem to know everything about you. It gives organizations immense power in shaping people's experiences. That's what Metal Gear Solid 2 shows us, a future where privacy is non-existent. The digital footprint exposes us to constant monitoring and manipulation by forces we are not able to see. By doing this, you can manipulate behavior based around how people react to certain situations. And as humans, we are drawn to this type of entertainment. The ability to discredit the opposing views and control the narrative, this is a snowball effect in the industry. When one company finds something that works, everything follows. Think about popular media like Cyberpunk 2077 or Ready Player One. The media explores what the future of the world could look like if technology continues to advance at this speed. And while no one can predict the future, the idea of creating games and media around predicting the future has gone popular since the days of Metal Gear Solid, where it's now become a major genre in the industry today. And that's why Metal Gear Solid 2 had such a large influence on narrative storytelling. The choice to focus on themes like information manipulation and the rise of digital simulation sparked more discussions than the straightforward good versus evil story. Where games before focused on entertainment value, Metal Gear wasn't afraid to confront real-world issues to engage with the players in a deeper way. Blurring the line between reality and game makes players reflect on their own experience with games and how we view the stories we play. Constantly delivering on such complex narrative themes that are still relevant all these years later help to break the mold of what was expected in video games. If you did enjoy the video, drop a like, and as always, I will see you guys next time.